My name is Roger Rugi, and I am a mentor with Pathfinder Resilience. Today, I want to talk to you about something that is one of the most remarkable aspects of our human potential, and that is our ability to control our thoughts 100%. If you think about it, whatever created us, whatever your belief system is, it really gave us autonomy only over one thing, and that's how we think. And if we only have control over that one thing, doesn't it stand to reason it must be the most important of all things? Now, the question becomes, have we developed it to the fullness of our potential? And I can tell you the answer to that is absolutely not. Not one person has ever done it, because you can expand it infinitely. And this is about shifting perspective. So, are you the kind of person who leans in more toward the glass being half empty versus half full? It's an old cliche, an old metaphor, but it's a good one. It's one that really applies to us today, because there's a lot of pressure coming at us from all different angles. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, times have gotten very confusing. And with the advent of social media, well, we could take tremendous advantage of that, like listening to these kind of videos and setting things up that empower us. But are we all the time empowered? Or are we saturated with a lot of negativity, a lot of strife, a lot of things that are designed to stoke fear? And if so, how do we mitigate that? Even if you're a person who leans toward that half full side of the fence, you have hard days too, don't you? Yeah. And isn't it interesting how the mind can construct stories about everything? And those stories are not always empowering stories. I'm going to invite you here for a moment to really think about, are you more thinking like a victim? Sky is falling, things are kind of messed up, the state of the world, or are you thinking like a victor? No, I'm empowered. Yeah, things are tough sometimes. No problem. I have all the skills I need. I have all the resources I need. I have all the connections to other people that I need to be resilient no matter what comes my way. Do you stand in that kind of power? I'm going to share with you a personal story. When I was a police officer, I had post-traumatic stress, and they diagnosed it as complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, we no longer use the D word, because we realize post-traumatic stress is not a disorder to be managed. It can actually be cured. And I am an actual example of that, a living embodiment of the fact that you can overcome even complex post-traumatic stress. But here's the interesting part. I went in for a single event as a police officer and discovered through EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, a standard in the treatment of trauma, that 6 more events were inside me that I did not even realize were there. That's very interesting to experience, because it's a little shocking to have them kind of purge themselves when you've got the right person guiding you through something like EMDR. And in each of those cases, the reason that they were in there was the event I experienced, I felt like I had failed, that I had let someone down or some people down through my actions that didn't save the day. Now, here's the interesting part. There was nothing I could have done to save the day. Nothing. And yet, my mind felt as if I had failed. That was the story, or the perspective, that I had concocted inside myself. That's victim thinking. Through EMDR, we went through each of those scenarios again. And the psychologist helped me to reframe that, in fact, I did everything exactly right. I followed policy. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. It was just that on that day, it wasn't enough. Circumstances were never going to be different, no matter what anyone else did to try to save the people that were involved in those critical incidents that I experienced. That psychologist, with the modality of EMDR, helped me reframe my perspective to one of success, that in fact, I did everything that was supposed to be done and I did it perfectly. That's not a fail. The end result, tragic, tragic, but it wasn't something I created. And so as a result of that, I was able to let that burden go that I was carrying around with me. Question: how many of you are carrying that kind of burden? You think back on past events. Jesus, I wish I had done this or that or the other thing. What stories have you told yourself? Are they empowered stories? Are they victor consciousness, where you know you did the best you could? And even if your best fell short, did you learn? Did you grow? Were you able to apply what you learned in the future? That's amazing. That's empowerment. That's learning and growth and wisdom and all the things that come out of really hard circumstances. We can become the victor or we can stay stuck as the victim. Now, can you shift this on your own? Damn hard. Here's my advice. Go get yourself a mental health checkup. Work with a coach or a professional therapist who's culturally competent to your world, especially if you're a first responder. Make sure that if you see someone, they understand you, they get you. That's going to be key. Seeking help is not weakness. It is the hugest expression of strength that I personally know. It takes an incredible act of bravery to admit that you need a little support to take a step toward that victor consciousness so we can let the victim go. The victim, no, doesn't do us any good. We just stew in those juices and it is bad for our body, our minds, and our spirit. Now, to be clear, victor consciousness thinking is not putting lipstick on a pig. This isn't a fake it till you make it. This is a proper reframe that gets us into an empowered state so we can step forward in our lives and not be mired down by the past, by regrets, by fear, by anxiety, all the stuff that we drag into present time. Wouldn't it be a miracle to let go of that burden? Yeah, I did. You can too, but it requires you to step outside of your box, your little comfort zone. I get it. I had mine too. And to trust that there are people out there that can help guide you, that have been where you are, that understand this intimately. I promise you one thing. You go through this process, you purge what's still hanging on in your past, your future is going to be unbelievable and unlimited. Perspective. Victim, victor, you can control it 100%. I'll see you at the next video.